Hello, everyone, and welcome. Thanks for joining us today. I'm Sophia Lucia Parola with Garden State Film Festival. This year, March 21st through March 24th, you can check out the 22nd annual Garden State Film Festival. There are 200 films this year from 14 countries, all different types of films. We got features, animations, shorts, music videos, pilots, amazing stuff. And you can check out a homegrown feature called Stargazer. Here to talk to me about this beautiful film are these wonderful artists that I have the pleasure of interviewing today. Hello, everyone. Congratulations.
Hello,
Hi,
thank you.
Sophia.
Thank you.
I'm really excited to talk about this film. Let's get into it and have us all introduce ourselves and our titles in the film.
I'm
All right.
Rob Ackerman. I'm the co-writer with Kate Gannay.
I'm Kate Gannay. I'm the co-writer with Rob Ackerman, and I acted in the film as well. My name is Matt Bogart. I play Spike in the film, and I'm also a creative producer.
My name's Alan McIntyre. I was the director, editor, and cinematographer with these wonderful co-filmmakers.
Woo, love it. Congratulations all around. Amazing job, everybody. Let's tell our audiences about Stargazer. Whoever wants to give our little synopsis.
Well, Rob, why don't you start?
I always do. Basically, a long time ago, I was reading this very nerdy book called E equals MC squared, the biography of an equation. And I learned about this woman named Cecilia Payne. And Kate Gannay came into my life as an apprentice, as an assistant. And we started working on a script. And when I kind of got desperate, and Matt Bogart was around during COVID, we were kind of working on it, and Matt got the script to Alan McIntyre, and Alan McIntyre said, "I know how to make this film," and then we were off to the races. It's the story of a young woman who, in 1925, discovered what the universe is made of. Then her advisors and mentors took her knowledge and her discovery, and one of them published it as his own. And this is a contemporary story about a young woman named Grace Campbell who starts to look into this thing, and the same thing starts to happen to her.
Wow. Okay. I didn't know it began like that. That is so cool. So tell me what it was like. Rob and Kate, you both co-wrote this. What was it like collaborating, writing the script? How long did that take?
I guess I'm trying to remember how long it took. I think we started working on it in maybe late 2018. Rob, does that sound right?
Mhm.
And it originated as a play, which is sort of once people hear that, sometimes they like think about the movie and go, "Oh, that makes sense." But it originated as a play. We written it in a couple different ways. We wrote it as a period piece at one time, and then we were like, "That doesn't work." And then eventually, when COVID hit in 2020, and we were like, "Well, staged plays are not going to be around anytime soon." We adapted it into a screenplay, which is really, and Matt was sort of with us at that transition, and then Alan came in when it was a screenplay. But we shot it in 2021. If I'm like making that up, no, 2021. And so we really had been working on it in some form for like 2+, almost 3 years.
Wow. Matt and Alan, what attracted you to this film and why did you want to be a part of telling this story? Let's start off with you, Matt, because you produced this and were one of the leads. So tell me how.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, I'm good friends with Rob, and Rob is an established playwright. Produced has had many plays produced in New York, and he had asked me, "Hey, come and do. Can you and your wife come and do a reading of this play in my backyard?" And we happen to be neighbors at the time, and we've been collaborating on on a few things anyway. But I was like, wow, this is really interesting. And then COVID, and I was like, we got to keep developing this in some way or another. So we did we did talk about it for a long time, and then I think it was he and Kate that came up with a lot of the adaptation ideas to take it out of the library, which was the only location that the play took place, and then when I was searching for someone to help us um, be a DP or a director, I talked to a friend of mine that I was working with at the time, and he directed me to Alan. Alan and I met, and Alan seemed like very excited about the piece, and so I brought him to Rob, and we just started working to find the money, and we did a kind of a kind of a sh- kind of a short, like, hey, this is the kind of film we want it to kind of look like, and then we started rehearsing in Rob's backyard with the cast after we had done a few readings over Zoom, everything that happened during the pandemic. So of course that was very difficult, but the pandemic also offered a kind of freedom in that I would say to Rob, "Hey, let's do at least one little thing every day regarding the film." And there were many times where we said, "Should we do the film? Should we wait until COVID's over?" But we actually never stopped working, and things just fell into place. Whether it be the locations, Alan coming on, other actors. So it was a really amazing ride, and we ended up filming the whole thing in how many days would you say? 15 to 16. Yeah.
Wow.
10.
It felt like 10 to Alan, but I know that it was more than that.
We had
Um,
Wow.
a kind
A
of
feature in
addendum.
10 days. That's
mhm,
insane.
yeah,
I
but
think. I mean,
thank
sounds
God
insane to
we
me.
no,
It
thank God
wasn't.
we went ahead and followed through with it, because we got it done instead of waiting, and we're not sure,
That's like over
you
10
never
pages a
know, like,
day. Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
Wow. Alan, you were cinematographer, director, and editor in this, right? So
Yep.
you wore a lot of the hats. I mean, why did you want to help tell this story? What really attracted you to this project?
Well, two things. One is that when they approached me about the project, it seemed very doable. I've worked on a lot of movies where people wrote movies that they couldn't produce realistically, and I really liked that this was a producible movie that was inspiring. I come from a family of scientists, and I come from a family that of Greek mythology kind of storytellers. So the combination of science and mythology really attracted me to the project. And the story about this woman kind of working against the system and kind of having to get past the put downs and everything also was a good sort of underdog story that I think everyone can relate to. So I had just finished helping direct a project at Rider University in New Jersey when the script of this came to me. And that's a relatively new program for filmmaking at Rider. So I knew they'd be really excited to kind of co-produce the film. So the fact that it took place on a campus was a huge asset. We had a great campus there near Princeton, and they in fact had a campus that was called the Westminster Choir College that looked just like the Harvard campus with the red brick and the towers and everything. So, it was almost like our own little backlot we got to use in the years during COVID. There weren't a lot of students there, so everyone that was there was working on the project. We got to hire all of our students I'd just been training at Rider, and they kind of worked on their first production with us on the campus. We hired some of the student actors as well to play the other roles other than the lead three. And, it was a really great co-production where it was both a professional set, but we had a lot of students there learning. So we were able to stretch our production budget quite a bit with the support we got from the school.
That's amazing. And I love that you guys give some other people opportunities because you know that they've learned so much and added that to their resume. So I love to hear that. Kate and Matt, you both lead this film. You are fantastic actors, really ground yourselves in these roles. Tell me about, these characters. Were they familiar to you? What was it like playing them?
That
Kate,
is,
yeah.
Grace is like deeply familiar to me in many ways. I think when you've written a character, you write yourself into any character. But just by virtue of having written her, I was a part of her already. And I am a huge nerd like Grace is, but I think I'm less sort of timid than Grace is in real life. I think Rob and Matt and Alan could agree with that. But I adored her, and I felt so kind of connected to her from the beginning. And I think Rob felt equally connected to her, though. I think just because she was like the female character and I had sort of was going to play her, I think of her as Rob's baby as much as she's mine. But also it was just a very easy role to play opposite Matt, because he's like totally amazing, and he was a veteran actor, and so I was very, very, very lucky to have my first like lead feature role be opposite someone as generous and talented as Matt.
And Matt, what do you have to say to that? Give
That is a
compliments
kind
back. No, I'm just kidding.
compliment.
What was it like playing Spike?
Thank you, Kate. And I feel the same way. I think that, Kate and Rob put so much heart into it, and she's right. Like, she just brought a lot of herself to the piece, and a lot of vulnerability and hope, and that's the key. And Kate is brilliant in this, all the way to the final moment. Um, I I think, like, it's easy to villainize somebody like my character Spike, because he's sort of the bad guy in the play, or in the film. But I feel like it's truly a love story between Spike and Kate's character, because he is fighting for something that he needs. It's like winning the championship, getting the Peabody Award, and then needing to win again is the hardest thing to do, is to come back and win a second time around. And he needs that for his career, but at the same time he stumbles into this woman and finds that her dreams and her needs are incredibly attractive as well as she is, and then falls for her. But at the same time, he makes decisions along the way that trip up the possibility of this thing working out.
Have you both acted together before this film?
We have not, no.
Wow.
No. Yeah.
Amazing chemistry. Do we have a lot of rehearsals? I mean, how and Alan, if you want to step in, how was it directing these two?
It was, amazing to work with such great actors. And we started the rehearsal process at Rob's house in Armonk, New York. And so we had outside, we didn't have to all be in a small room or anything. And my process when I came in, I felt like I had to find my place, because they had all been working for quite a while. So I didn't want to just come in and start barking orders. I just sort of kind of held back a little bit and kind of got the lay of the land, saw where they were going, and then started adding in the camera to the mix, and started adding in, so like Rob would be rewriting the script as we were rehearsing. So Rob was like kind of finding the, even better ways to express what the characters were expressing through each individual actor's, performance style, and just each little nuances that worked better. So the rehearsing was integral, because we had about a month or so of intense rehearsals. And for example, day one, we ended up having to completely switch out what we were going to do. So we basically rehearsed this movie like a play, knowing that we only had just a short time to shoot it. And we ended up having to shoot the end of the movie at the beginning, which was not planned. So a couple days before production started, a big disaster happened. The library we were shooting had to install a bunch of noisy shelves that were going to involve drilling. And these actors, we pulled off 20 pages of the final act of the film in day one, and just threw them into the mix. But they were so talented, so ready to go with all this rehearsing, that we were actually able to pull it off. And it's really such a successful part of the movie, where all the plots kind of come to a head, and everybody has to have their final, showdown. And it really added a great amount of stress to everybody. And pulling off 20 pages of dialogue is never easy, let alone day one. Right. Everybody's getting their sea legs. So, that's a huge testament to them, though. Everybody pulled through, and you watch the movie and you wouldn't even know that. You'd think that, they've been up all night, and it feels real.
Yeah. Couldn't agree more. Rob, I mean, this was kind of, I feel like it's a little your baby, right? Like you kind of born through you, and then Kate joined, but How do you feel about Stargazer, and what are you hoping audiences get from watching this film?
I'm in love with this movie, and I've watched it a lot of times. This is, I think, our 10th or 12th festival. Uh, I love the story. I love Cecilia. I love the way Kate plays both Cecilia and Grace, and also there's so much of all of us in the film. In that rehearsal stuff, it came out of the fact that Zoom was such a terrible medium to be acting in, and I had sort of a meltdown. I said, "You guys are awful. You have to come be. We have to fight. If it's outdoors or whatever. We have to be together." Kate found Leigh Nico to play the role of Diana. She's amazing. She found Robert
Yes.
Vale, the choreographer who does those dances. That was also her find. I brought Justice McClarty, who is the producer at the SNL Film Unit, the single most resourceful and uh, brilliant producer I've ever met, and I've been around a little minute. So Justice lives in New Jersey. Justice said he would work for free for a long time, and then when we scouted the location at Rider University, he said, "Okay, I'll do the movie because it's doable." So a lot of us had to bring people in. Matt Bogart brought Katie Faffel, the composer, who he knows from musical theater from Cincinnati Conservatory. Whenever we got stuck, and I also brought a collaborator from musical theater, Phoebe Kreutz, who does those beautiful songs. Aren't those songs amazing?
Oh my God, that was one of my questions. We're running out of time, but I'm happy you talked about her because
Yes.
I
Phoebe
loved it.
So yeah, so many people I love do the music, the performances. Even the woman in charge of security, Paulette, who we've just found in the cafeteria. I mean, I'm in love with this film because I'm in love with the people who made it. I really
Yeah.
am.
No, I agree. And there's just so many wonderful elements of the film. Like you mentioned, the music, obviously the beautiful camera movement, the movements we see in the film, the sounds you have. There's so much we could talk about. We could talk all day, but we're running out of time. But I want to hear from you, Kate, Alan, and Matt. Obviously, you pulled off a feature film, which is not easy to do at all. You did it in this 10-day period, which is insane to me. And it just has so many beautiful elements. So what made this a success? What's one thing that other filmmakers can hear that really helped bring this home?
I think a lot of planning and we rehearsed, which I think a lot of films don't do. So we rehearsed a lot. We rehearsed with Alan there, our filmmaker. I also believe that Alan is just so great at what he does, and what other filmmaker can pull off an entire feature that it has a very verbose script in 10 days. I mean, he knows what he wants, and he got down to business, and it was kind of a miracle how he pulled that off. So
Yeah.
Alan.
Kate, you go ahead.
Okay, go ahead.
Go ahead,
Please.
Kate.
Okay, I think that I think being super passionate about what you're doing is that and that's not always the case, and sometimes you have to work for a paycheck, but in this case all of us I think really cared about the material and had such a long-standing relationship with it that there was just no question you were going to kind of go above and beyond and devote yourself. And I think what Matt was saying, this sort of multi-hyphenate was really advantageous to us. Like having written it and acting in it allowed us to shoot really quickly because I knew the stuff really well. Matt had been a kind of creative producer on it already. Alan being the DP and the director meant he could do what he needed for the camera. We sort of streamlined things in a way because of that, and that was possible because we had a really nimble kind of small crew, and sometimes that wouldn't apply to a big crazy like James Cameron movie or something, but it worked for us.
Right. And Alan, yeah, I
Absolutely.
got to shout you out too. Sorry, before you, I just want to say in your bio, you were the cinematographer on A Vigilante with Olivia Wilde, and you worked on a lot of award-winning stuff. So yeah, let's hear your words of wisdom. How was this possible?
I think the best advice I could give is give yourself the editing time. What we did was we got as much as we could. Like my philosophy on set was coverage above all. I didn't want to be a DP turned director that just gets two pretty shots. So I got coverage. And then we spent a good year editing. And this whole group here, I would share the edit, and then I would go off and do teaching, or I would go off and shoot a different gig or something. And so by taking the year to edit it, I've done a lot of films where I DP'd where they had maybe a 5 or 6 week or 8 week edit. and the movie evolved so much over that year. It got so much better. I basically edited the movie twice. I did one edit. We sent it off to Sundance for our rejection, and then I said, wait a minute, I messed this up. I didn't start the movie right. And I went back to Rob and said, I think we should do a little reshoot. I think we should re-edit the movie. And then we spent another 6 months editing again. And I think for a film like this, where we just have to make use of everything we have to make it successful, taking the time, like editing, where I could just do it when, between my other gigs, really just was so great. Kate came back, Matt came back with, I would have them do little recordings on their phones or on microphone. They would send me new dialogue, things like that. Just like we were able to just find what we needed to really make this as successful as we have. So I really, that time I think was really helpful.
Thank you all so much for taking the time out to talk to me about the making of this film. You could really feel like the love and passion in this room. So I'm honored I got to ask you guys about it. I'm really happy that our Garden State Film Festival gets to play this at the 22nd annual festival, not just because it's a great film, but because it's a homegrown film in New Jersey, and that just makes it all the better. So let me tell our audiences how they can see Stargazer. It will be playing Saturday, March 23rd. The film block is 9 to 10:45 p.m. Check it out at Jersey Shore Art Center. Get your tickets at gsff.org/tickets. Will we be there?
We'll be there.
Oh yeah, we'll be there.
Oh, I'm so
Absolutely.
excited. All right, guys. Well, I'll see you at the festival. Thank you again, and congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate
Bye.
it. Bye-bye.